Okay, so we have 14 participants. Good afternoon, everyone. It's interesting to keep meeting like this online. Looks like we are going to be meeting like this. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. So a warm welcome to LSL's talk on designing and developing online instructional training using AR and VR. This is actually done by two of our colleagues from FabLab, Mr. Yiliang and Amanda Lee from FabLab. And FabLab is not new to embracing digital transformation. They have been trying to do various kind of digital transformation activities, even ever since, even before COVID-19, right? So I know that they had used things like a walking robot to assist the students who are in the Fab Lab and things like that. So they are trying very interesting things. And this time around, they have used some 360 cameras to develop AR, VR materials. So we would learn from them how they're going about this, and at a personal level, what was it like learning on the job and doing. So I would like to invite both Yiliang and Amanda. Yiliang is a founding lead for the FabLab electronics section, and he's a senior specialist. He holds an engineering degree and also a master's in safety, health, and environmental technology. Amanda is a newly joined colleague, only 6 months in SUTD and doing some great job as a senior technologist. And she graduated from NUS with an engineering degree as well. And she has some experience in designing work in industrial and manufacturing design. Okay, so without much ado, I would like to welcome both Yiliang and Amanda. It is your show. Please introduce and add more information about yourself. I would also like to thank Dr. Ong Eng Hong, and also Vincent from FabLab for the leadership and guidance on such projects or support for such projects. Sometimes it is also the support that's needed, right? Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
All yours, Yiliang. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. Yep. So very good afternoon to all, and thank you for taking your time off in attending our virtual sharing hosted by SUTD Learning Science Lab team, Nacha and Clement. So I'm Yiliang from FabLab, and together with me is Amanda from FabLab as well. So you just joined us recently this year. So today we'll be sharing with you our topics on designing and developing online instructional training using AR and VR. So let us get started. Okay, so these are the contents that we will cover this afternoon, where I will briefly talk about our FabLab digitalization journey. So furthermore, I will also run through our self-directed instructional package, the different self-directed training, which FabLab had launched last year during the new freshman terms. And finally, my colleague Amanda will be sharing with us our stories on embracing new technology, including a short demonstration on our VR instructional content. So next slide, please. Okay, during this session, I'll be sharing with you more on how FabLab had kickstarted its digitalization journey in different milestones. So next slide, please. So in 2018 and earlier, traditional teaching method was applied where single equipment was shared among a group size of about 10 to 12 participants for group learning. And in fact, through this teaching method, it actually limits our participants on hands-on practical. So in the year of 2019, as part of FabLab Industrial 4.0 initiative, our team has rolled out the deployment of robot for telepresence and communication purpose within the FabLab. And this initiative was also presented by our fellow FabLab colleagues during the SUTD Pedagogy Day in the same year. Right, so this robot was deployed as a remote safety observer during the practical lesson, as well as performing spot checking of unsafe act within the 24/7 makerspace in FabLab. So furthermore, it was also deployed for student engagement and interaction during the DIY hands-on workshop and project consultation. So in the unmanned operation, the robot can be deployed to verify machine fabrication status, as well as checking the process of the 3D printing of entry-level 3D printers by remote monitoring from either office or home. And finally, it can be deployed to facilitate staff and intern development as part of train the trainer program and internal program, and on the spot response to encourage students on machine or equipment support. So moving on to year 2020, right? So FabLab has actually rolled out a new initiative known as Self-Directed Instructional Program. Through this program, our participants, mainly our undergraduate students, can learn at their own pace within a given slot, and each participant will be assigned to a single equipment for better hands-on experience. So the same setup also applies for refresher training, especially for returning students who are out on a long summer vacation to stay fresh and to prepare for the new term practical assignment. And the self-directed training can also be made available daily. So COVID-19 pandemic has struck in the midway of 2020 with limit or no face-to-face lesson. So self-directed instructional program in FabLab came timely and was able to carry out and comply with safe management measures without disrupting our newly joined freshman students from fulfilling their safety credential, as well as a preparation for their new term practical assignments and projects. So next, I shall run through with you a set of videos highlighting the different self-directed instructional program FabLab has launched. So a total of 3 different trainings, such as entry-level 3D printing, laser cutting, engraving, and maker essential training were launched as part of FabLab safety induction program for newly joined freshman students. So from the first video, you can view that each participant is assigned to a single unit of entry-level 3D printer. This is a FDM 3D printer, including a computer with a pre-loaded self-directed e-content. So the participant will then follow the step-by-step instructions at their own pace within the given slots. Okay. Right, so the next, the second video, she showed us the participants performing practical steps on laser cutter, machines, the Z height calibration with the help of a self-directed e-content. All right, so moving on to the third video, is our maker essential training, where our participants will be given practical exposure to our entry-level maker equipment through the self-directed training. Okay, back to FabLab milestone. All right, so in 2021 this year and during our work from home, so our team has embraced and learned new technologies with an objective of enhancing our self-directed instructional content, which will be covered in the subsequent section. So I shall pass the mic over to Amanda for the second part of the sharing. All yours, Amanda.
All right, thanks Yiliang for sharing about how FabLab journeyed through the digitalization process. So now I'll be sharing more about the new technologies that FabLab has come to explore and also embrace. Yep. So before I move on to further details, I'll first like to align with us on actually what is extended reality, which will be one of the key focus of what we want to share today. Yep. So extended reality can actually refer to 3 different types, be it VR, AR, or MR. So first of all, VR stands for virtual reality, where the user will actually be exposed to a completely new simulated environment that's meant to replicate or be as close as the actual environment. Then AR actually stands for augmented reality, where some digital information will actually be overlaid onto the real world, and the real world is still the focus. Yeah, so some examples could include Pokemon Go, like if you guys played it at the time. Yep. Then the last one, MR, stands for merged reality, or also known as mixed reality in some cases, which is a combination of both the real and the virtual world to together where one can interact with both this physical and virtual environment. Yeah, so these extended realities can actually be achieved with the aid of different tools and as well as software authoring tools. Yeah, so what this brings me to share is about some of these existing technologies that are available in the market currently, which will help to fulfill some of these purposes, especially in instructional training that we are looking at. So first of all, we have the hardware, where technology that we are expecting to use via AR actually requires some form of hardware to be able to support the content that we want to show. So some of these could include HoloLens, which is in a mixed reality, VR headset, Google Glass that has the AR, and also 360 camera, where you can capture 360 pictures and videos for the VR environment. Next, there's also the software and authoring tools, which apart from the hardware, we also require these authoring tools that will be helping us to craft the content and to share it to the intended participants as well. Yeah, so a quick search on internet will actually give you many results of the various available software and authoring tools for this purpose. It could range from a typical e-learning tool, where it could be a conversion from PowerPoint slide to various VR, AR, or MR authoring platforms. And of these many different hardware and software available, FabLab actually had a chance to explore some of these hardware and authoring tools as well. So you can see that these are some of the tools that we have explored, and it covers a wide range from both hardware and software. And for us in FabLab, these tools are actually all self-learned, where the staff would pick up and try it out, both the hardware and the software from there. Yeah, and based on the learning and the picking up of these tools, we actually then evaluate the tools and to see which are the best for our intended purposes. Yep. So for this particular sharing, what we want to focus on is actually two of them, which is the 360 camera as well as Scenario VR, which is a VR authoring tool. So first of all, the 360 camera is really meant to help take 360 photo and video to be used in the VR environment. And the camera itself has its own features, HDR for realistic imaging and also a stabilization for video when required. Yeah, and this 360 image is to give learners a better sense of place. That'll be helpful, especially for us in FabLab when we want to do equipment training, so that the users will also be more able to experience a similar environment as the actual, which will be helpful to help to build up confidence in them before the actual practical. And then this will be coupled together with the Scenario VR, which is the authoring tool that we have explored and chosen. So Scenario VR has different aspects that we looked at. So first of all, is that the content is actually accessible through many different platforms. It could be online, HTML5, or even uploaded to your LMS, various LMS, and SUTD is like Blackboard. And then it can also be accessed in the mobile tablet app or even the VR headset itself. Yeah. So Scenario VR also allows for a wide variety of media to be uploaded within. It could be ranging from pictures, videos, and even 3D objects. And one key part of Scenario VR, which we really like as compared to that could be lacking in a few other tools, is that Scenario VR actually allows for on-the-spot questioning and feedback, where we could actually include quizzes for the learners to be able to attempt and to try out. Yeah, and fundamentally, it's also a simple tool for people with basic proficiency to be able to pick up and use. Yeah. And so with these two main tools, I'll proceed to share more about our development process for this particular learning content. So I want to share with you the step-by-step process of how we go about doing it for this particular purpose. Yep. So the first step for us is really to prepare the content. And for any well-developed teaching and learning content, the learning outcomes needs to be clear. And so this will differ based on the kind of content you want to show. And in our particular case, we wanted to do equipment training. And so we will create a storyboard based on that. Yeah, so before we even go into the actual VR authoring tool, it's actually important to prepare a storyboard first, because this will let us know what is required in the next step, what kind of contents we need and what kind of diagrams we need even. Yeah, and this should be done by the content expert of the area who will know best about what should be covered or what you intend to cover or not. Yeah, and in FabLab's case, we usually do equipment training. So the key parts for us they want to include is definitely safety, be it personal safety and equipment safety, as well as some basic operational steps so that the users are familiar with the process. Yeah. So the next step is author in VR. And so there are a few sub-steps within this. So let me explain into further details. Yep. So firstly, you will need to use the 360 camera to capture images and videos as required as established in your storyboard initially. Yeah. And so for the 360 camera that we use, there are actually 6 lenses. So there are 6 different photos which will need to be stitched together to get this final image that you're actually seeing here. And this will be done through external software like Adobe Premiere Pro, which has a direct plugin from the 360 camera that we use to be able to stitch your photos together. And after these 360 images is obtained, we will then need to proceed to capture all other media that you require, be it videos you want to include, some close-up pictures, or even some particular icons that may be specific to your use case. And then since this authoring tool, right, it actually allows for 3D model. And if you like to include it, you need to be able to get the files as well. So for this, there are actually existing sites where you could possibly get 3D models that are made available to the public. Or if you really do have a need and you have the expertise to do 3D modeling, you can actually do your own CAD model and then convert to the GBL file that's required to upload. And then once you have all this content, afterwards you have to upload and insert the content into the VR authoring tool, where you can customize the different text, shapes, whether it's in the size, the color, and also determine where you want to place it, where's the best placement in the 3D environment. Yep. So these are the key things that you need to do in order to actually develop the content. So what I'll show you next is actually the demo of the software. Yeah, but this particular demonstration, it isn't actually the full training instructional package, but really some snippets for us to be able to showcase the different features as mentioned just now that's available. So now I've actually switched to the VR site where you can see how the content actually looks like. So there's actually hover over, where you can see you can explore the environment in 360. So you can click and drag and explore the different environment accordingly. So this is actually the location of where our equipment is located at. So what we also included is also some basic navigation keys that is important for us such that our learners are able to navigate the training by themselves. So that they are able to know what to click and where to go, especially without a trainer that be there present with them. So we also included hover over details so that the users are able to know what they are going into next. So I'll go to next to learn more about safety. So some examples include the inserting of pictures within. You can see this is the PPE. Or you could also simply just put in text within for what you want to show. Yeah. So for the equipment safety, we are also able to make use of the environment to show them the different boundaries of where they need to take note of. Yeah. As well as the emergency stop buttons of the equipment itself. Yeah. So once this safety portion is complete, the learners will then be able to proceed whether to revisit the safety again or move on to the next portion. So I'll move on in this case. Yep, and here we're learning about some of the Zoom tools, which is the digital cutter tools that we actually use. So what you can see is actually the different CAD models where the users were able to spin and rotate to really have a closer look at the different tools that are present. Yeah, this includes some brief description of the tools as well. So they can rotate it as and when they like it. So with this, the 3D models, this is a sample of it, and then I'll move on to the next one, which will go to basic operation of the equipment. Yeah. So what you can see here is actually a keypad where you can include different icons, And one thing this allows for is also that the users are able to interact as if they're interacting on the actual equipment. And this will help them to be able to experience and visualize the actual use of the machine. So in this case, they will have to go online, and so they will click it, and also to be able to have a drag and drop to simulate that their hand will be there. So we can see here is a sample video that we put in to show the cutting of the equipment. So to end off, go back. Yeah, so this is some basic operation of the digital cutter that we are using. And then lastly, we want to move off to a knowledge check where we can go through the different questions as required. Yeah, so this questions part, as I mentioned previously, is one key part. Otherwise, the learner themselves may not be aware whether they have fully understood the content or not. So especially in this self-directed learning online, which we are trying out where the instructor is not present. So these questions will serve as a check for them as well. So we go, each question covers a different topic. Yep. So you can see in this question, you can actually set the different options and different questions. So in this case, about safety, which are the following statements are false. And let's say I select option C. What it gives is that we are able to give an immediate feedback to the users on which is the correct answer and which is the wrong answer, as seen by the red and green. And also a brief explanation of why a B is the correct answer. So after they are able to review this question and the answers, what we allow them is also to be able to revisit the particular section that the question is pertaining, so that they're able to see the details again, to check it for themselves. So in this case, you see the PPE, and then there's more than safety goggles. So what also included is that they're also able to go back straight back to the end of the training so that they can answer the questions. So in this case, I will select the correct answer, and this statement is false. Then I'll go back to the different questions. And I'll give the answer, and you can see that a similar thing we can do for all the different questions to give a feedback of the answers. So once they have answered all the questions, we'll also input this area where they can also revisit any different sections that they want to refresh some of their memory or content, or to just revisit and to have a better idea of those particular areas. But if not, once they are done, they can say that I know they've completed and understood the training. And this would help us to be able to complete the training and to be able to feedback some of their results and their interactions with this as well. So I'll go back. All right. So this is the quick demo of what the software can do. And really just to showcase all the features, and it's not a complete the whole content that we have. So the next step after we get the content is that we want to conduct some trial tests, which is where our current stage is at with this development of the Zoom Cutter instructional training. So after all the content has been placed, we want to be able to get valuable feedback from a small group of users to be able to improve the whole content. And this could, and for us, this means getting feedback from other trainers within FabLab, and also a small user group that we can test it out with. So you can see from the video that's one of the students trying out to the environment and to rotate the different tools within. And then the next planned step that we have is actually to make improvements, to make any changes we have according to the feedback, and to tweak the content accordingly. And after all these steps are completed, the last one will really that the content will be ready to go live and to be used as part of our students' equipment training program, which in this particular case, we're actually planning it for next year. Yep. So with this, this whole sharing about how we develop our content, this actually brings us to the end of the sharing on FabLab's digitalization journey, as well as a preview of the different tools and emerging technologies that we're using as part of our practical instructional program. So do let us know if you have any questions for us.
Thank you so much. It's a good overview on the various steps. So we have quite some time for discussion. Maybe I'll kickstart, and then people, if you have questions, maybe you can put up your hands and speak up as needed. Okay, maybe to start off with, right, like how long did it take for you to produce like one learning module, and how long was the learning module? So like for a 5-minute, what extent of work and how long did it take?
Thanks, Nasha, for the question. Yeah, so on how long did we take? I think from the start to the end, there are many different processes I shared, like the storyboarding itself would take some time, especially if you don't have any existing training materials or the equipment, as well as you need to populate different various tools and software. And very much depends on, I think, the proficiency of how we are familiar with the different softwares. For example, if you are not familiar with the 360 camera, it could take some time to learn and to pick it up, to use, and then to process the various files and media. Yeah, so I think to answer your question, it really depends on, I think, the content that you're intending to show. And because the content itself will determine how long this VR content actually is, and how long you actually need to do it.
But like, I mean, that's fair enough. But for your case, right, I mean, for your own experience, being experienced in this area, so we would take you as a benchmark, okay? So with the experience of fairly medium level at least, right? Maybe the 360 camera maybe was new, I don't know. How long was it, like few months, 2-3 months, or you could do it in a month?
I think we actually for the camera aspect, it's more like we learn it through some with the help of those YouTube and online references. And because for most of the users, they are actually having a hobby of photography, right? So most of the techniques, they don't share it online. So like, for example, if you engage a trainer, they may not want to tell you more about how they, the techniques of how they capture this different angle. So it's all depends on some, to them it's like a trade secret. So for us, we will try to explore different type of angles and different type of possibility to get what we want to achieve. Yep. So I think this part is pretty challenging, and especially people like us, we are very raw in especially on photography. Yeah.
So, I mean, just to set the expectation, if I'm like a faculty member trying to develop this in the middle of my teaching, it's not going to be like I can develop it right away. It will take, that means I need to, like, if I'm going to do it next semester, I have to start the works now. And
I think you can use a trial and error method. Yeah, so you can do it and then try to do a mock-up and get the scene ready, and then get the people on the act ready, so that you play by the storyboards. And I think everything should be fine. Yeah. So get the scenario, everything, and set up under real environment. Yeah.
so am I correct to say that this will be very suitable for labs, especially practicals?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Any questions from our participants? Would you like to have a workshop with Yiliang and Amanda?
Hi, this is Sharon here. I just wanted to check, right? So currently for this this 360 thing that you have just demoed to us, right? You mentioned earlier that it can be uploaded to LMSs. So can I know if it's currently uploaded in our students' LMS as well? Or they have to access this content in a separate platform?
Yes, it's compatible, because you can actually output as a HTML file. They are all compatible with the LMS. Yes, it can be done.
Okay, so another follow-up question to this is, if it's on LMS, right? Can I also know whether this e-learning module, is it currently graded? Do students have to go in and answer the questions and then get points out of it, or they just have to complete the module as like a read-only?
If you're using the existing e-dimension, are you referring to the existing SUTD e-dimension, or you are referring to the other different corporate commercial LMS?
No, so not in particular to what kind of LMS you use, just that
Okay.
the content itself, does it capture any scores or grading or anything like that?
Yes, it has the built-in analytics, so you can able to see whether the students able to achieve like 80% or 90%, yeah, of the score. So at the back end, you can check all the data. So the instructor can actually gauge which questions they get it wrong. So in the e-dimension aspect, I think they also have this built-in analytics as well, to see what the questions and etc. that they can get it right or wrong. So
I
it's
see.
possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Yeah, maybe we should really schedule a session with you. Okay, Ken, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
This is Julia. As a follow up, so when you actually integrate this training section into our Blackboard, so the data will be available in the Blackboard. Is that how does it work?
Actually, we are still trying out. We are still learning on this software aspect. Actually, so today the sharing actually is to show to you that what are development. So in fact, we have not rolled out any programs yet. So we actually have some timeline that to monitor whether to roll out next year, subsequent, and we are still testing. We still test bedding this the software aspect and how good is this software. Yeah. So I believe just now Sharon has just asked this question whether you can have this analytics or this what you call it, the what you call it, the questionnaires that can be answered and can be viewed and all this, etc. So it's possible, yeah. But it's still an ongoing process for us to further evaluate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go back to the basis of this, maybe it takes me some time. Can I say that this is actually a 360 virtual reality, because you'll be having the 360 video and activities, but then they can use the goggles, Google Box or something to see it.
Yeah, so you're right, there is a VR 360 environment. So it's compatible with like VR headsets. So like a Google box, like the cardboard box.
The cardboard box, yeah.
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 Yeah, but I haven't actually tried it out. Yeah, for now, we have tested with the iPad apps, and that's possible. Yeah, but according to the software itself, it's able to be compatible with other VR headsets.
I think the education lab also have the similar camera, right? Natra, do you know? Is it the same model?
Come again, Julia.
I mean, education department also have this VR camera. I remember it's the same model. I just want to confirm.
I'm not sure if it's the same model of 360 degrees camera, but I know that EdTech has camera, I think. And I think the last time LSL also produced a 360 video, but we borrowed it from one of the folks in the other labs. So it was from a lab. Clement, can you remember, was it from the IMDA lab or something?
I'm not sure, but so far I know under the office of UGS we do have a few devices, but
yeah,
under
we can check with Wu Chong also. Julia, sorry, I'm not able to answer your queries very clearly, but the best person to check with will be Wu Chong. Yeah, he has, he should know, yes.
Things from the Ideal Lab.
The IDA lab, is it?
Ideal Lab.
Ideal lab, okay. We borrowed, I don't know where we borrowed from. We borrowed a camera. Yes. Okay. Any other questions that we have? Is this currently implemented? Can we try? From Datu from Game Lab. He asked, and some of them are asking in the chat box. So I missed the earlier question. I'll go back to the first question. Will this session be there for future reference? Where can we find the video? Actually, we do have all the videos. It's just that we didn't upload it in the website. But if you would like, you can come back to us, and we are working on it, on uploading to the public platform. But you can come to LSL to request for the videos if you need. For Dato's question, is this currently implemented? Can we try? Yiliang?
Yeah, so currently this for us, we are still in the process of developing. Yeah, as Yiliang mentioned, we are targeting for next year to roll out for our students equipment training program. Yeah. So on trying the software, I think if you would like to, you can go ahead to do a trial run on the software itself. Yeah, for us currently, we are working closely together with our local supplier for this trial version that we are using to be able to explore this software and the capabilities. Yeah, but it's available for anyone who want to try it out online as well.
Okay. Do you know of anyone else trying this at SUTD?
Not for this particular commercial brand, but I know that there are some other colleagues of ours also trying on other different VR content, like the library. They actually use the Tingling, a different platform. Yep. So they actually design some like project on virtual tour. So I think different creator will have their own preferences. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
So, but it's also a good opportunity to explore different type of software as well. I mean, you can suit for different type of projects or different purposes. So yeah, it's good to share. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason for asking is so that we know that there are other people in SUTD community who are doing, such work, and you could have a discussion. I'm sure that Game Lab has some expertise as well in this kind of work. So, staff members, faculty members could also reach out to these various folks like FabLab, library. Yes, Game Lab says, yes, you're welcome to talk to us. So you could talk to the various groups. Okay, we have a hand up. Yan, you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah, hello, this is Jan. So
Very
I
good.
have two questions. The first one is, you mentioned that the environment is compatible with the VR headsets. So my question is there a plan to apply this, to use this with the VR headsets? And the second question is, how many tools or machines do you want to implement this to?
Yeah, so for us currently, we are still working out this program. But for VR, I think it depends the headset itself, because if we are intending for the students to be able to access it at any time, it may be more practical for them to access using like an iPad or their own phone equipment to download the app and to go through the whole content. Yeah, instead of having everyone to a need to have a headset to go through the whole thing. And as for your second question, how many tools are we intending to exploit to? I think we are in the starting process of trying out with first this digital cutter and perhaps going to our laser cutter machine. Yeah, so we're taking it phase by phase, trying this out first and then seeing how it works before moving to other equipments.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
The same content could be seen without a headset also. We just use a mobile device to connect to the link, connect to the material, the instructional material, the video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I say this in more commercial things like, when you're doing online shopping, or if you're looking for, like the properties and things like that, these websites, sometimes they have this kind of tools. You can actually view the entire building structure. You don't need to have a headset. They will have the circles, and you could actually view 360 views of the houses, and things like that. So, I mean, I'm just trying to relate this to what I'm experiencing as a consumer. Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we could call it a day. It has been a very interesting session for us. It's inspiring to hear works from the ground because this is not top down. It's really our own colleagues championing these projects, and it may not be from the expert or very experienced point of view, even though they are, you know, so they are also trying and learning, but they are happy enough. They are willing enough to share with us. So we are really thankful for their time and forthcomingness to share with us. And also you as participants, you know, all of you taking time to connect with us today to learn from each other. Thank you for that. Otherwise, let us give Yiliang and Amanda a round of applause. Thank you. Well done. And
Thank you.
we hope that you can share with us in a more lengthier workshop if needed. If there is enough interest, we will arrange for it. So do let us know. Okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. This is, yeah, we have Rizwan clapping. It's a bit, you know, it's not the same as the real face-to-face sharing. You know, you can actually see people's reaction, whether they felt happy, you know, whether they appreciate. This is a bit online is always like you cannot feel the warmth of the people, like, you know. Yeah, Yen says good, thumbs up. Yeah, so you can see the
Okay, maybe next round we can do another round of sharing, such as the HoloLens.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the with a virtual model. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
will plan it. Yeah, next time, next round.
sure. And if you want to also study this experience that you're going to have with students, how they are finding this, if you want to do this as an experimental project, LSL will be happy to work with you on that. So when you're implementing the tool with them, then we can have an evaluation questionnaire to collect their feedback on their experience, and if we can also look at the data and things like that. So the our provost is talking about scholarship of teaching and learning projects. It doesn't have to be only for faculty members, it's for everybody involved in teaching and learning. And you know, it's in terms of instructional design, it will also be useful from your side. So yeah, we open up a lot of opportunities. If you have time and bandwidth, welcome.
Thanks for the info. Yeah.
There are a lot of thank yous from people. So yep. So we will sign off, people. Thank you so much. See you again.
Yeah, have a great evening ahead.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, have a great evening.